staffer who worked in one of his agencies. This was the first time that I had heard such allegations. At around 5:45 p.m. last night, I sat down with the Minister and put a range of questions and allegations to him. He confirmed that a consensual relationship had occurred, that it involved someone who had previously worked in his office and had been based in one of his agencies. I want to be clear up front. I wish to protect the identity of the person, so will avoid providing any details over and above those necessary to explain my decision that may reveal who they are. I request that the media and other politicians respect this. Over the course of the conversation with the Minister, it became clear to me that his position as a minister was untenable. I advised him of that at that time. The Minister has shown a lack of judgment over a period of 12 months. In undertaking this relationship, he has opened himself up to accusations of improperly using his office. He has not modelled the behaviour I expect as a minister that is in charge of setting a standard at culture as Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety. His actions have ultimately led me to lose my confidence in him as a minister. The Minister takes full responsibility for his actions. He fully accepts my decision. He has also decided not to stand at the next election. Carmel Sepuloni will become the Minister for ACC. Andrew Little will become the Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety. And Chris Farfoy will become the Minister for Immigration. All of these portfolio allocations will take us through to the election, at which point, of course, all portfolios are reconsidered. My final comment is this. Politics is a place where we need to maintain standards, and politicians should pay the price for mistakes. Their families should not. I do ask that we try and maintain that clear distinction here. I'm happy to take questions.
Minister, is it the power imbalance?
Jane.
Is this a current situation or is this historic?
No, this relationship has ceased prior to these allegations being raised with the Minister.
Can you give us a bit of a time frame in terms of, you said it was a 12-month relationship, but how long ago?
I believe it ended several months ago.
Is it the power imbalance, Prime
Barry?
Minister? Is it the power imbalance that you're concerned about, rather than just the affair?
I've taken into account a range of circumstances in this decision. One very compelling circumstance for me is that this is the Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety. I expect behaviour to be modelled here that is appropriate. Obviously, we're talking about a minister and someone that worked within one of the minister's agencies. This is one of many factors I have considered here that have led me to this decision.
You said that you needed to dismiss him. Is that because he wouldn't resign, or why?
No, that is the. I need to, of course, inform the Governor-General. Then she removes his warrant as a minister. When I discussed these matters with the Minister absolutely agreed his position was untenable. There was no question in his mind that he would maintain his portfolio, so I would not wish to leave a suggestion here that the Minister does not accept his circumstances. He does.
Was he being called into your office to tell you, and also does he have to break this news to his family as well?
I will let some of the personal circumstances for the Minister remain his personal circumstances. But after our conversation, I did make sure that the Minister had leave from Parliament to return to be with his family. That is also behind some of the sequencing of this time frame for announcing this decision. Whilst I discussed with him at that time that his position as a minister was untenable, I did wish for him to be able to go and be with his family and spend some time with his family over the course of the evening before making this announcement this morning.
You said that you weren't aware of the details of this until now. Are you aware that there were rumours about this going on?
I had not been. Obviously, I am aware of that now.
You're aware of the rumours that were being...
No, I had not been. No, I was not aware of those rumours and allegations. However, I would also share the caution here, and many of you will know, working in this place, often rumours and allegations will circulate, many of which will not be true. In this case, I was not familiar with these ones. These were the first time I had put them to the Minister.
Would you have expected Ian Lees-Galloway to have come forward with this to you rather than you having to seek out this information?
Given the nature of, as I've set out, the sustained period, the issue that this could have led to accusations of him inappropriately using his office, given his role as a Minister of Workplace Relations and Safety, there are circumstances here that I think reach a threshold that require the actions I've taken today. Yes, this, and therefore is something that I would have wished the Minister to have shared with me.
And what about the woman involved in this? Is she okay, and will you be reaching out to her to ensure that she has the support that she needs, given that this
that would be my hope, that those who are familiar with the circumstances will reach out in that way. I again want to be cautious about too much detail that I provide, but the employment relationship is different now than it was at the time. And so I'll leave it at that. We will take them one at a time. I will come to you.
Did the email come from the woman herself?
No. As I've said, it came from a third party. There's no suggestion to me that there's been anything to instigate this being raised by the person themselves.
Was it a staff or a politician?
No. I'm not familiar with the person who's raised these allegations, and for me that is immaterial. Of course, it would be material if it was directly the person involved. It has not been. It is a third party.
Then what if Judith Collins' handling of this?
I'll come over here and then I'll come back.
Did the tip you received, did it allege that there was an abuse of power?
Again, it made a range of allegations. I ultimately need to make my own judgment regardless of anyone else's judgment. I've set out for you why I believe that the Minister is in a position where, as Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety, an ongoing lack of judgment over a long period of time where it's just untenable for this for his status to remain as a Minister.
What are the allegations that they made?
Again, I've set out the primary feature here, someone that has worked to the Minister, who has been in one of his agencies, has had a relationship with the Minister that I consider entirely inappropriate under those circumstances for a sustained period of time. And over that sustained period of time has displayed a significant lack of judgment.
What do you think of Judith Collins'
Did the third party say that they were passing this on behalf of the person, or did they have a relationship with the person?
No, it was very clear to me that this was being done without their knowledge. Yeah.
Prime Minister, what did you make of Judith? Prime Minister, what did you make of
I will come back to you, Tova. I just want to make sure everyone has a first go.
If you were not the Workplace and Safety Minister, would you have taken it?
And look, I don't want to get into too many hypotheticals here. I've tried to set out that there have been a range of circumstances here that have led me to this decision. A very compelling one for me is the ethical standards required to be set by a minister around a workplace and the culture that is established in a workplace and the relationships that exist in a workplace. So that is a feature of this decision here, and here's the Minister for Workplace Relations.
Why is it tenable that he remain in Parliament? He will still have staff.
He's made the decision that he will not be standing again. My view is he's reached the threshold for not being a minister. Ultimately, though, I did leave it to his own decision as to whether or not he ran again as a Member of Parliament, and he has concluded that he will not.
Being a member of your caucus until September 19th?
Until such time as he ceases his role as a Member of Parliament in September, yes. So I've made the decision about his role and my confidence in him as a minister. I'll come back to you, Tova.
Thanks, Prime Minister. What do you make of Judith Collins' handling of this, and do you think that there was a degree of politics being played in the way that this information has been presented to you?
My view is that we each have our own ability to handle information that is provided to us in our own way. You'll see that there are clear differences in the way that the minister, that I chose to deal with the information I received, and that she has chosen to deal with the information she's received. It is up to everyone else's judgment as to what is appropriate or not.
Will you be seeking assurances from the rest of your caucus about any other inappropriate behaviour that...
Again, There's a constant expectation in our caucus and amongst our ministerial team around the standards that I expect. But here, of course, I will make a judgment on the individual circumstances that I'm presented with rather than hypothetical situations.
What are those differences in style? Can you just explain what information you received from her and how that was different to what you sent through?
Well, obviously you'll know that once I received information, I passed it directly on to the Leader of the Opposition and I discussed it no more widely than that.
What do you mean? So you're saying that the appearance on the AIM show this morning, is that what you were referring to?
Look, I've just simply set out the differences. I received information, I passed it on to the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition has received information and obviously has chosen to deal with that differently. That is her judgment. I made mine, she's made hers.
Are you aware of previous rumours about Mr Lees Galloway's behaviour before this term of government? Specifically right-wing blogs, I think, in his first 2 terms of Parliament, talked about his relationship, an inappropriate relationship with the Parliamentary Service employee.
I do want to be careful. I don't want to get into a situation where I'm simply responding to rumours that circulate in a parliamentary context. What I've set out today is clear actions on an allegation that has been confirmed. And so I've acted on a confirmed allegation, and that is what I'm speaking to today. I don't want to be in a situation of discussing what is often rumours that can circulate in a parliamentary environment. Jason.
Of Andrew Falloon and now the confirmation of Ian Lees Galloway today. What do you think this means for people's perception of Parliament as a workplace?
Oh, look, I make this same mention that I did even in the context of that situation, regardless of political parties. We need to maintain a standard and a culture. It's my job to make sure that my actions, when I'm made aware of things that don't meet my standards, demonstrate the culture we expect in this place.
Specifically with men, do men in politics need to do better?
We all have a role to make sure that we maintain standards in this environment. I'm not going to start casting judgments on specific genders here. This is a job for this parliamentary precinct and environment generally. It's been a culture, an environment that for a long period of time has needed to make improvements, and I will continue to do my bit to make sure that I can lift the bar of expectation amongst the public.
Do you expect the Minister to make a statement himself? Should he be answerable to the public and to the media for his actions?
Look, it's obviously not unusual in these situations for members to put something in writing. I think it's also not an unreasonable expectation if he's making sure he's spending a bit of time with his family too.
It's about his well-being.
That is something as a matter of course, regardless of circumstance, that I will always hold a concern for that. That is part of my role, and I will make sure that I maintain that role.
Is Ian Lees Galloway a victim of circumstance here? Because the information was passed you from the Leader of the Opposition in the wake of the Andrew Falloon scandal. Would it have been treated differently?
No, look, what I'll say is regardless of the circumstances under which I have become aware of this information, my actions would have been the same. Look, I won't speculate on the nature of the way in which I've heard. Ultimately, I would have done the same thing.
Is it now open season on any MP who's ever had an affair?
Again, I've acted on the circumstances of this case, and there are circumstances here that I think justify action. A sustained period of time, opening up to the accusation of the inappropriate use of his ministerial role in ministerial office, the fact that he is our Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety. So a series of circumstances here that have led to this decision. I don't want to get drawn into hypotheticals. I'm setting up my actions in this case.
But just to pass this out, is the
Are you concerned that this wave of scandals will depress voter turnout?
I hope not. And look, again, it is about the way that we choose to act around them. And in my view, part of that is actually saying, we all need to maintain a culture, an environment that people can have some faith in. We can deal with situations like this without bringing politics into it as well. And I do think that helps with people's trust in our systems. Jackson.
Prime Minister Chris Farfoy last year intervened in an immigration process and promised to speed things up for op shop singer Jason Harrison. Why is he fit to be
And you'll
immigration
recall from that circumstances, it was clear that the minister had not breached any cabinet guidelines and so on. In that intervening period, I've elevated, he's in a role now within the cabinet. Of course, he has portfolios of responsibility, and in my view, has demonstrated what is required to have these additional responsibilities. It is also important to keep in mind in this distribution, I've utilised ministers that do have some prior knowledge or some contact with those portfolios. Andrew Little, obviously his background in workplace relations and safety. Minister Farfoy has previously been an associate minister. As a Minister for Immigration, he'll deal with policy, not cases. And Carmel Sepuloni, in her role as MSD, often has interactions with the ACC system and has an operational agency, so has that experience. So that was the basis. That was the basis of these decisions.
Prime Minister,
Henry, and then I'll back to
Prime
it.
Minister, I know you don't want to set hypotheticals, but
Yeah.
just passing this out, you consider a principle for all your ministers, any member of your government. Is it ever okay to have a sexual relationship with staff?
And look, as I have said, I deal with the circumstances that are presented to me, and that is what I've done in this case, and I've said that in previous situations as well. For me, this is about a demonstration of judgment. It's about whether I maintain confidence. I am wary about making moral judgments here. For me, this is about conduct as a minister with a particular set of ministerial expectations. Yeah.
Have you received any other allegations or information about other Labour MPs in the past week that has you concerned?
No, and again, what I would also say is that we do need to keep in mind in a political environment, we often hear rumours and hearsay that is very often incorrect. And so that is, I think, something that all members of Parliament need to keep in mind in a highly politicised environment during an election year. That will often happen. We need to act cautiously. Here, we have a confirmed allegation. So, of course, that requires action.
You won't be sitting down with any of your ministers or MPs in the next few days to discuss any such allegation?
Look, again, at any point where I have things that concern me, I address them and I deal with them in an appropriate way. But I don't want to be drawn into hypotheticals or indeed rumours that don't have substance.
Was there any misappropriation of funding?
No, this is a question I have directly asked. I have been advised no. But I still think the minister has opened himself up to the question of whether or not he has inappropriately used his office to sustain a relationship. And that is not something I am comfortable with and has fed into my decision.
And when you were speaking with him, did you talk to him about the Francis report and about how that may have impacted what he was doing?
Look, ultimately my decision was based on the circumstances in front of me. I needed no further convincing of the actions I needed to take. The Francis report is an extra layer of why we need to maintain a culture within this place. Tova.
Do you recognise that people will be horrified that a beehive office has been used improperly in this way, and what does that say about the sanctity of Parliament?
Look, ultimately, I have to make sure that I'm making a decision based on circumstances that I believe warrant a minister losing my confidence. In that case, this has occurred. So I do accept that this has happened in a highly charged political environment. That doesn't change my view that over a sustained period of time, a long period of time, our Minister for Workplace Relations has not modelled behaviour that is in keeping with his office. Yeah.
Given the sustained nature of that behaviour, are you going to be giving any special direction to caucus or staff? Because they must have been aware of this.
These issues are constantly a reminder to everyone about the need to maintain a set of operating principles, a set of behaviours that are in keeping with what our communities expect of us. But again, I am very clear here on the difference between moral judgments and judgments around whether or not the minister has acted appropriately as a minister for workplace relations. Jessica.
Was this woman a junior or an intern?
Not the latter. Not the latter. It would take judgment for me to make a statement based any further, and I also don't wish to identify the individual involved here. I've shared information that I think goes as far as I need to justify and to demonstrate why I've made the decision I made. Too much information runs the risk of identifying the individual.
Just say a junior member of staff though, or a young member of staff.
So it's fair to say that at the time I'm advised that at the time the relationship commenced, the person was not in his office, but was in one of his agencies.
How would you sum up Ian Lees Galloway's ministerial career?
No, look, there have been things that will happen in this week as a result of the minister's work. We will pass pay equity legislation this week. You know, he has made workplace reforms that will make a difference to the lives of workers. They get morning tea breaks now as a result of his work. However, I have to keep in mind that a Minister for Workplace Relations needs to maintain a standard and a culture. He's not done that in this case. He fully accepts that.
So did you ask if if this was a one-off, or if he'd ever had another relationship with staff?
In my view, that's immaterial. He's made a decision here that has led to him no longer holding this role. I was there to ask him about this situation, so it didn't come across my mind or occur to me to delve into anything other than what has led to his sacking today.
How did the staff member get to his office? Did he handpick the staff member to go from the agency to his office?
I want to be cautious here about the information that is provided that may identify, as I've said. This is someone who had worked in his office, who was not working at his office at the time that the relationship commenced. That is what I have been advised. Regardless, I consider it to have been inappropriate.
Are you going to direct any sort of investigation to make sure that taxpayer funds weren't improperly used to sustain this relationship?
So I have asked that question. I've been advised that is not the case. It wouldn't take much for us to make sure that that is indeed true. And so I have no hesitation asking Ministerial Services to look into that. Regardless, the Minister has already paid the ultimate price. If there's anything that any financial implication, then I'd have no hesitation asking for that to be dealt with as well.
You have no hesitation. Can you go as far as just confirming?
I can ask Ministerial Services to do that work, but I can ask them to do that. I will ask them to do that. But as I say, I've asked explicit, detailed questions around this, and have already been advised that that has not been the case. But no reason not to satisfy ourselves that that is true. Okay, I'll take the last few questions. Justin.
During your opening statement, you said that over the course of your conversation with him, it became clear that his position was untenable.
Mm-hmm.
Was that because of the length of time of the affair, or was there something that he told you?
As you can imagine, I asked a range of forensic questions, and as I received answers, it became clear to me that was an untenable situation.
Going into the conversation, it wasn't clear to you whether or not he could stay.
I had a set of allegations. At that point, it was not clear to me if they were true, or all were true, or if part were true. Over the course of the conversation, the Minister shared with me honest answers, and that's when it became clear to me that his position was untenable. We'll leave the last couple, Ben, and then I'll finish with Mikey.
Prime Minister, there's a second serious allegation about ministerial conduct today raised by Radio New Zealand, which alleges that Foreign Minister Winston Peters directed Antarctica New Zealand to give prize spots.
I'll pick those up on the tiles. I'll pick up general matters on the tiles. You'll be hearing from me again at 1:45 today, and I'm happy to pick up that question then, Ben. Mikey?
Do you think that Ian Lees Galloway should front the media and the public deserve an explanation from him?
Look, he will be providing an explanation. He will be doing that in written form. I don't consider it unreasonable that at this time that he is with his family. Okay, thanks everyone.